this is funny. See that house? You're actually looking at a house. Activistpost.com. I saw this the other day. Not from Activist Post, actually. I saw this like 2 days ago. Actually 3 by the time you see this video. And I was like, oh, what a neat thing to do. They actually 3D printed this house with a very large 3D printer. That's it right there. Now, it's only 400 square foot, but that particular house right there cost about 10 grand. So I did the math. 400 square foot times 10 would be a 4,000 square foot house, which would be equate also $100,000. So you could have a $100,000 house that's 4,000 square foot. Yes. 10 times, right? 10 times 10, 100,000. If it's 400 square foot times 10, 4,000. Which means for 50,000 you can get half the house, 2,000 square foot house. So I was like, man, this is really neat. And I saw the video, which I'll link you to this Activist Post page so you can check it out there. And they have a YouTube video that they linked as well. So if you want to, this is a short video by the way, but if you want to check it out, it's really neat. I watched it myself the other day, and I was just checking some sites, getting myself up with the news on this Sunday evening, checking my sites, and went over to Activist Post, and it was on their front page. And I said, now that they've posted it on there, it's like my second time in your face, because it made me think, man, if you buy a piece of land with a few acres on it, what does it cost to bring one of these things in and have a freaking house, printed, 3D printed to your house? That's really neat. You could easily say, oh, hey, my house is having problems. That one little section A21. Oh, no problem. We'll print it and mail it to you, assuming it was small enough. Or we'll send our guys out with the machine and they'll just, print out part A21 for you right there on scene. So I thought it was really neat. A little bit different kind of an article that I normally, this isn't like politics and finance stuff, but this is technology, and I'm one who is up with technology, and this would be a really cool thing, because I always liked the dome homes. That's not exactly a dome, but it's kind of a circular, as you saw. More like, it reminds you of like a little fan blade, right? But you could just as easily program this thing to do a dome home. Dome homes are the kind of homes, they're usually made of concrete, and they like indestructible practically. You know what I mean? Like earthquakes, not usually a problem. Tornadoes and hurricanes, no problem, got you covered. And there's a company in Florida that makes the kits, the dome home kits, on the east coast of Florida. Can't think of the name of them right now. But I always thought, like, if I was to get a piece of land and actually build a house, as opposed to just go find a house and land ready to go, I really considered that. Like, man, I wonder if we should just pull that trigger and go dome home. It's pretty neat. But then I saw this too, a few days ago, and now it's on Activist Post, and I thought, how cool is that? So it says a groundbreaking potential solution to homelessness and poverty is now a reality thanks to a company called Apis Core. Now let me stop for a second. I gotta be, realist news, gotta keep it real. Potential solution to homelessness and poverty? No, sir. Because that thing costs $10,000 to make. Again, you could argue, yeah, but the government could put homeless people into housing, that sort of thing. Again, you now have the welfare state going to 2.0. We're trying to get 2.0, 1.5 version of welfare state down to like 0.01, where only the absolute needy people, health problems, mental health, whatever, physical disabilities, all that's where we don't mind spending our money. So I'm going to have to scratch out that first. Matt Agorist wrote this article. Matt, I love you. But this ain't the solution to poverty and homelessness. This is the solution to give more handouts if we go that route. So no, I just appreciate the technology and knowing that these disgustingly overpriced things we call homes, even in 2009, 10, 11, 12, as the price just absolutely plummeted, you got fire sale deals on houses. They were way overpriced. Why? Because houses in the early 1900s were only a few $1,000s, of course, to buy a house. Not only that, because I know inflation and whatnot, a loaf of bread was 10 cents. I know, I get it. But people could still get somewhere between a 5 and 10 year or so mortgage on a house from what I read a few times. And then the Great Depression hit. I discussed this the other day. The Great Depression hit. Rather than kick everybody out of their houses because they can't afford it, they help people stay in their homes, they said. The government, that is. We will introduce this new thing. We've never done this before. There's never been a need for this. But now there is. We're going to extend your mortgage for 30 years, thus lowering the rate you pay massively. So I want to share one other thing with you right now before I get back to this. Car loans. I talked about this too. Remember the days of 3-year, 4-year, 5-year loans? Forget 3-year. Nobody today is buying a new car on a 3-year, right? J Snip, shut your mouth. Minimum 5 years. Correct. Minimum. But wait, there's more. There's a new program. Just like the Great Depression, people aren't buying cars. They can't afford them. Let's extend it. Again, what's the old saying? Extend and pretend. We now offer 6 years, 7 years. And last I heard, there's now an 8-year. And one of you may say, Joe, there's actually 9 or 10 years. Maybe you know. Joe, there's 9 and 10 years now. I don't know if that's true. I know there's up to 8 year. Who in their right mind would pay on a car for 8 years? And I know some of you right now are saying, oh man, he just called me out. Damn, Jason, you just called me out, son. Hey, I still love you. No hard feelings. You might argue, it's all I can afford. I can't afford the payments unless I get it extended that long. So my question would be back at you. Why are you buying such an expensive car? Do you know the kind of car that I could afford if I really wanted to get a nice, Mr. Big Shot car? I could go get the stupid high freaking payments and all that crap. Not a chance in hell. Not doing it. I'm driving a freaking 04 ex-police car with a bent up front push bumper and a couple small holes right behind the push bumper. But I could easily go buy a new car with payments, and I wouldn't even have to do the whole 8-year crap. I could say, you know what? We'll do a 5-year, 4-year, whatever. No, not doing it. But the point is, they didn't extend the loans from 5 years to 6 years to 7 years, now freaking 8 years, because there's all these beautiful cars. I want to get a Porsche. I want to be a big shot and get the Ferrari or Lamborghini of some type, or I want to get the new super duper Tesla model, model such and such. I can afford it if I can pay 8 years on it. That's not why this is happening. This is happening because most everybody can't afford it. A new car, period. They ain't even looking at the Teslas. They're certainly not looking at Porsche. Oh, no. Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, the three big, Honda, anything. Ooh, those are getting expensive. I can afford that. Oh, yes, you can. I can? Yeah, in a very low interest rate. In-house financing. Really? What are we talking? How does a $320 a month payment sound on this brand new? That's all? It's only $320? How is that? Well, it's a 100-year financing. You're going to pay on this the rest of your life, and your kids are going to pay on the rest of their life. 8 years. It's ridiculous. This crap never happened. So what I'm going with this giant speech is that this house I just showed you. Let me pull that back up. That's just so cool. Let me pull that back up for you, so we can just stare at it together. If that house cost $10,000 with the windows and all, and I'm not sure 100% sure what's inside it. I know they showed a little demo model that I saw in the video. I'm not sure if everything in it is included or whatever. But let's just assume that $10,000 gets you an empty house. It's got the walls, it's got the electrical outlets, everything. It's got stuff you need. My math was a 4,000 square foot house for $100,000, or a 2,000 square foot house for $50,000. That would bring back all that nonsense I just talked to you about of getting higher price. So let's keep extending the mortgage. It would bring it all back down. So you could have this big crash, real estate, screw you. Oh, I'm going to go buy this house. I'm going to buy a piece of land and buy one of these damn things. Well, multiples of those. Somehow put them together. So I could have a little more than 400 square foot. This is not Tiny House Nation JSNIP 4 over here. Can't do that. Would never work in my family of 5. But it says, as the Telegraph reports, Nikita Chen Yun Tai, the inventor of the mobile printer and founder of Apis Core, explained his desire to automate everything. When I first thought about creating my machine, the world has already knew about the construction 3D printing, he explained, but all printers created before share one thing in common. They were portal type. I think he meant portable type. I am sure that such a design doesn't have a future due to its bulkiness. Okay. So I took care of this limitation and decided to upgrade a construction crane design. What sets Apis Core's product apart from the rest is that its mobile printing technology can print everything right on site. Prior to this method, portions of the house had to be made off-site and then transported. However, thanks to Apis Core, that costly process is now a thing of the past. Printing of self-bearing walls, partitions, and building envelope were done in less than 1 day. Pure machine time of printing amounted to 24 hours. Once the printer finishes the house, it is removed with a crane and the roof is then added, followed by interior fixtures, fittings, and paint. And as Zero Hedge has pointed out, the initial house consists of a hallway. Okay, so great. Here's all the stuff. Here's the goodies for 10 grand, 400 square foot. The initial house consists of a hallway, bathroom, living room, and kitchen, and is located in one of Apis Core's facilities in Russia. The company has claimed that the house can last up to 175 years. Let me say that again. The company has claimed that the house can last up to 175 freaking years. Now we're talking. Hey, it's time to get a roof. 10 year, your roof only lasts, 15, 20 years. You got to cost factor that in. Make sure you got a side cash to deal with that when it comes up. And no, my roof's made of this awesome material from Apis Core. There's going to be no replacing of any nonsense on my roof. Maybe we put shingles up there to make it look like a house. We just take those off and put new shingles on. Never have to replace board or piece of the roof. No, that just whatever. You might find that putting shingles on something like this, you're just killing the structure. And if it is very sturdy and thick, like a piece of concrete would normally be like in those dome homes, you don't need to put a roof or shingles or any of that nonsense on it. It is, they printed the roof. You stick it on. Have a nice day. Talk about Legos for kids. This is what I'm talking about. Get the crane, get the thing over there. Fantastic. Hallway, bathroom, living room, kitchen. Done. For now, the technology is in its infancy. However, in a few years, the deflationary pressures unleashed by Apis Core and its competitors could result in a huge deflationary wave across the construction space. This is exactly what I was just saying. This is fantastic. And would mean that a house that recently cost in the hundreds of thousands or millions could be built for a fraction of the cost, providing cheap, accessible housing to millions, perhaps in the process revolutionizing and upending the multi-trillion-dollar mortgage business that is the bedrock of the U.S. banking industry. This incredibly cheap and efficient home only costs $10,134. And they have a video of it, so again, I'll link this so you can check this out. But let's think of something else here. Your normally $250,000 house can now be made for $75,000. And I'm talking about the house and property. in a normal city around at least Florida, you don't have an acre, you don't have half an acre, you don't have a quarter of an acre. If you're lucky, you might have a tenth of an acre. Okay, you have a small piece of land. So in that $75,000, your land's included. Okay. What happens to the this thing called property tax, which is based upon housing costs? And if you took a $250,000 house and they did the little tax mumbo jumbo on it, oh, you've got a 70. Yeah. The massive amount, decreased amount that the governments across this nation would get for property tax would be insane, and they would implode, they would collapse. So what would have to happen is property taxes would have to go up very high percentage-wise to meet the massively dropping real estate prices. This is another reason why Bill Still's movie documentary, The Secret of Oz, makes so much sense. The premise is simple. You don't borrow money into existence as a government. You have a printing press, you print the money, and you pay for every expenditure the government needs, which is employees, government employees, vehicles, the military, everything. And you could trickle that down to state level too, county level. Property taxes, gone. Don't need property taxes. Why? The freaking government's printing the money to pay for all the stuff it needs. And the only reason it taxes us is because it needs money. So if it doesn't tax us and it gets the money from itself, talk about being free and having true private property. Oh, you didn't pay your taxes. We're going to foreclose on you. The county's foreclosing on me. Sold my house for tax money. You know what I mean? Come on. Ridiculous. But I don't see that kind of system anywhere in sight, unfortunately. Anyways, final video. Take care.